Hey guys, welcome back to our YouTube channel. Today we're going to mastering the data binding in Android app development. We will dive into the basics with an introduction to data binding. Data binding is a powerful feature in Android that allows you to bind UI components in our layout files directly to the data sources like view model, activity fragments in the app's architecture. This data binding is only for XML view. If we are using Jetpack Compose, there is no need of this data binding and view binding. Firstly, let's take a look how data binding works. It eliminates the need for boilerplate code by automatically synchronizing data between your UI components and data sources. We'll see a quick example. First thing, we need to set up a data binding in our Android project. It is a pretty straightforward. Open Android Studio and go to app level Gradle file. Inside the Android tag, just write build future, and inside we need to give data binding true. So it is pretty straightforward. By this we are just enabled the data binding support for our Android project. Since we are getting warning, we just go ahead and solve that. If we use data binding, we need to use Kotlin Cap plugin also. So just we need to add that too. Go to the top and inside the plugins enter ID Kotlin Cap. Just sync the project. Once it is synced successfully, our warning is gone. Next, we need to modify our layout file. Open our layout file. We need to change this layout files to use a layout tag and wrap our existing layout content inside it. We can easily do this by clicking on a parent layout and click option plus return or control plus enter, and here we are getting convert to data binding. If you see here, this is the preview which is directly taking our content into the layout tag. Once you select it, it will be converted like this. We can do this manually, but this is the pretty easy way to do that. Now finally, in our activity or fragment, we need to obtain an instance of generated binding classes. Opening the activity, so this is different for activity and fragment. For now we will just explore for activity. So first thing we need to do is just create a variable binding equal to, we need to use the data binding util. Is not there, try to resync the project, and now it is there. Just importing and click on dot set content view, and inside we need to pass our resource id or dot layout dot activity main. So here we need to specify the type of this variable. So here we are just having the name activity underscore main, means the data type will be activity main binding, whatever the name we have, and plus binding. So that is its data types. Here we need to pass one another thing, this instance. So here just pass this activity instance. That's it. Now we just created the binding instance here. If you see this file, this is navigating to our XML file. This is how data binding works. This is generated by our data binding library when we converting our XML to layout. If we not making this layout change, you will not see this class. Now we created the instance. Let's see how we can access this text view. We no need to call this. So just binding dot. Now we need to enter our ID. Since here there is no ID, we just create one ID here. Just copying that ID. Now after the dot, we need to specify our component ID. So here our component ID is text view hello, and we just change the text to code conscious. We are going to cover some basic concept and syntax to help you start with data binding. Let's start by understanding the basic syntax of data binding expressions. These expressions allows you to connect your UI components like text views and edit text directly to your data sources. So now we will see how we can bind a simple data like string to this text view using data binding. Here inside this data tag, we need to create a new tag called variable. And here we need to specify our variable name. And here we need to specify our variable type. So we will specify the name as title and the type as a string format. And we just specified the variable, we need to use it inside the text view. We need to do changes on this Android.text attribute to get our value from this variable. So remove this. How you can use a data binding is, so we need to use the at symbol and open and close braces. Inside, we need to specify our variable name. Here it is title, and I am just specifying title. Now we just assigned this title to this text view. Now we need to actually give the value to this title. Open the main activity, and here we are setting directly to the text view. Instead of this, we need to use binding dot our custom variable name equal to hello from crunches x. I'm just running the app in real quick. So if you see here, whatever we assign to this variable is automatically binding to this text view. This is how we can use binding expression for dynamic UI update in our activity or fragment. So if you take a look here, in our example, we showed a type as our string type. We can also use like this custom model class, and we can get the value from getter and setter like first name, last name. And that's it guys. With data binding, we can easily bind data to any UI elements and even update them dynamically as our data changes. We are diving into powerful combination of observable feeds and live data with data binding in Android. This dynamic duo enables automatic UI updates and ensures your app stays reactive. Let's jump right into the code. First, let's create a view model with live data and observable fields. Okay, here I just created a mutable live data, and here we have an observable field called count. So this observable field is a data type which is available in the data binding library. And we have just created one function called increment count. When this function is called, we're just incrementing the count. And we also have update data. When this function is called, we're just updating our live data. So now let's integrate our view model with the XML layout using data binding. Open the activity, and now we need to create a variable for our view model. So just create a variable view model, and here we need to give our view model path, which is nothing but our package name and our class name. Now for simplicity, I'm changing this constraint layout to linear layout, just removing this, creating one button text as the increment, and we have something called on click attribute which will trigger when this button is clicked. So when this button is clicked, we need to call increment count function. So here we just specify at the rate open braces close braces and our view model name dot increment count. So this is the normal way we usually do, but only for on-click listener, we have to specify the callback. Now what will happen when someone clicking on this button, it will trigger this attribute and it will call our increment count function and the count will be increased. And we will try to print that function above, removing the title, view model dot count. I am just making the orientation as a vertical and gravity as a center. Again rerunning the application. We are getting error. Why? Because we are not initialized the view model in this particular activity. Let's go and link the view model. This is how we will create a view model instance, and then we need to assign that view model to our XML. So here I'm just assigning that, and we are just assigning the lifecycle owner also. Now we will run the application again. Let's see if you are not getting any crash. Again we are getting crash. This time we need to make sure this as a string. So what we will do is just call string dot value of and passing our count, and we'll run the app again. Now there is no issue. If we click on increment, it is updating. Now we just did this with observable field. This is the same way we need to use with live data also. We used the increment count. Now I am trying to use update data. Going XML and creating one another button. This time add new data. Inside I'm just passing. Now, on click of this, we are updating this live data. Now we need to observe this live data in our activity. Just we need to call our view model instance data observe. So here we need to pass the lifecycle owner, which is nothing but our activity, and here this is the output. So when we getting the output, I'm just trying to toast it. Now we will run the app again. So I'm just incrementing, it's working fine. And I'm trying to add new, click on new data, and it is showing the toast data binding, which is nothing but our app name. And that's it, guys. By utilizing observable fields and live data, we are able to automatically update UI, and our app becomes more reactive and lifecycle aware. In this video, we're going to see about binding adapter in data binding in Android. This handy tool allows us to customize the behavior of our data binding expressions, making our UI code cleaner and maintainable. First, let's understand what binding adapter is all about. Binding adapter is an annotation in Android that allows us to create custom attribute and bind them to our XML layouts. This means we can define custom behavior for our view directly to our XML code without changing anything in our Kotlin or Java file. Let's see how. Let's say we want to set a custom background color to this text view based on some conditions. Let's say whether a number is even or odd. When this number is even, while we are clicking the increment button, this number will increment. When this number is even, we need to show yellow color, and when this number is not even, like odd number, we need to show orange color. Let's see how we can achieve this type of functionality using binding adapter. Just create one new class, Kotlin class file. This time I'm picking up with object class, adding the name as custom binding adapters. So as normal, we can create one function called our function name, set even, background, and color change. This is nothing but a normal function. In this, we need two items. One is our text view and the number. So I am just taking text view as a TV, and the data type is text view, and the number as an integer. So now we will create our logic like val background color is equal to if the given number is even. If the given number is even, this condition will be true, and we will do a color dot parse color, and we will parse yellow color, else we will parse orange color. Now we just need to set this background color to our text view, tv dot set background color, and in this our background color. So here we just created our function. Now we need to make this normal function as a binding adapter so that we can directly use in our XML. So nothing but we just need to annotate the function with binding adapter, and we can create and inside we need to give our name. We can give any name. Let's say I'm giving name as bg code crunchers color change. Make sure this name has a unique, and one another annotation also we need to use. So that is nothing but jvm static. So why we are giving this because we written our code in Kotlin language, and this JVM static makes this function to use in even Java. We can call this function even in Java file. So basically, this XML, our XML code, whatever we are having here, is nothing but a Java format. So if we need to call our Kotlin, our binding adapter, which is written in Kotlin language, we need to annotate with JVM static. If we are doing this in Java language, there is no need of this JVM static. And coming to our XML, let's use our custom binding. So here in this text view, I want to use our custom binding. So I am first thing we need to use the app, and then we need to use whatever the name we are given here. Make sure it's not a function name, whatever the name we are given to this inside binding adapter. So here we are giving background code crunches color change. I'm just copying that name, and here we are just pasting, and as usual equal to, and at the rate symbol. Here we need to give our count. So I'm just copying this count, which we are storing in view model as we done in previous video. So since this is not a string, here we are defined as an integer, we just need to copy and just we need to assign to integer. So here we are applying our custom binding adapter, which is the value which is updating in the view model. So now we will quickly run the app and see how it works and just incrementing. If you see, if we are having odd number, it is in orange color, and if you are having even number, it is in yellow color. And that's the beauty of binding adapter. It allows us to encapsulate custom view logic directly in our XML code, keeping our Kotlin and Java code focused and clean. We'll see you on next video. Thank you. If you found this video helpful, don't forget to like, share and subscribe for more Android tutorials like this.